Stanford University.
So we have the Nice Girls crew with us today. Feel free to clap if you. Yeah. I'm just going to jump in and introduce all of you so we can just get right to the questions and open it up to the crowd because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions as well from the crowd. So to my far left, the wonderful Lin Chen. She plays Sophie in the Nice Girls crew. She made her feature film debut in Saving Face, a role that won her the title of Outstanding Newcomer at the 2006 Asian American Excellence Awards. She's appeared on TV shows from All My Children to NCIS Los Angeles and Law & Order, and she's appeared in over a dozen films, most recently starring in Surrogate Valentine, which I think debuted at South by Southwest, was that it? And Yes, We're Open, which was another film festival favorite. You recently did a web movie called Via Text.
Yes. With my husband.
With your husband,
yes.
Which everybody can see on Vimeo,
yes.
And all the different spots. And she was named a 2013 New Change Agent by Marie Claire magazine for your groundbreaking blog work. Thick Dumpling Skin is the name of the blog. And it's a brilliant blog about food, about body image, about Asian American cultural identity. And you're a graduate of Wesleyan. Welcome, Lin Chen.
Thank you.
To her right is Sheetal Sheth, who plays Lena. She's a pioneering South Asian American stage film and television actress who starred in 1999's ABCD film, groundbreaking movie. Also 2005's Looking for Comedy in the Muslim Word, and 2011's Three Veils. She won the equivalent in South Africa. It's the equivalent of an Oscar for 2008's World Unseen. And she was the first Indian American to appear in Maxim magazine. She produced and starred in...
It's a funny thing to say, it's Stanford.
It's on the sheet, so I have she produced and starred in the award-winning short Rain, which maybe you'll talk about a little bit. And she does a lot of activism. She's worked with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and she's a very strong advocate for the group Women's Voices Now. She graduated honors from the Tisch School of Arts at New York University. Sheetal Sheth. To Sheetal's right is Tanuj Chopra, who is a Palo Alto local. He holds degrees from Brown and Columbia Universities.
What does that mean?
Whoa.
Twist your nipples.
I did something.
Wow, 5 minutes in and we're already there.
I promise to be.
This is going to go in. He's directed a number of award-winning films, including Butterfly, Clap Clap, Carbon Dated, and Pia. And his first feature film, Punching Up the Sun, it's a brilliant hip-hop film about kids, South Asian kids, growing up after 2001, after 9/11, 2001, in Elmhurst, Queens. And it won the Grand Jury Prize at the San Francisco International Asian American Film Festival, and it also premiered at Sundance and the Tribeca Film Festivals. He's done videos for our old friend Vijay Iyer and for Chi Malabar. And he also facilitates the New Voices for Youth Filmmaking Initiative and serves on the board for the Palo Alto International Film Festival. Also, congratulations. You just won a big award, right, from Visual Communications Film Development Fund, right, for the next movie. That was cool. So, Tanuj Chopra. And to his right is Michelle Kusiak, who plays Geraldine. She's an Asian American film and stage actor of Taiwanese descent. She's been nominated for a Best Actress Chinese Language Oscar, the Golden Horse, for her work in Saving Face. And she's accumulated over 300 film, television, and stage credits. Her films include 2011, was it 2011 or 2012? Knife Fight, was it last year?
I think 2012.
2012, last year's Knife Fight. Far North, What Happens in Vegas. And her TV credits are very long. They include General Hospital, The Secret Life of an American Teenager, One World, Dirty Sexy Money, ER, Grey's Anatomy, and Community. And her acclaimed solo show, Made in Taiwan, has also been happening as well. Maybe we can figure out a way to make it happen here. She's recently completed the international Broadway tour of David Henry Hwang's Chinglish and just begun workshopping on David Henry Hwang's new play, which is about Bruce Lee, so it's close to my heart. She's a volunteer at the Center for Pacific Asian Family, and she does a lot of work around Genocide Awareness Week. So she's also doing a lot of activism. Michelle Fuchsia.
Thank you.
So all of you are, in a way, pioneers of Asian American film. I mean, Asian American film, sort of as a movement, has been going on for about 3 decades. But in some ways, it's still, still kind of happening. It's still kind of moving. It's still kind of making inroads into the mainstream. And so all of you have been pioneers in the work that you've been doing over the last 10, 13, 14 years. And I guess I wanted to ask sort of each of you, what is your sense of what's changed and what hasn't changed since you first came in? You came in 1999 with ABCD, and Saving Face was, I think, 2004? 2005?
2005, yeah.
2005, and Punching at the Sun was 2006, and all of them were really groundbreaking and innovative movies. But what have you seen change, over the last decade or so? What has changed? What hasn't changed? And any of you can start.
This question, I feel, is always a little, it can be a painful question because I feel like emotionally I feel one way and then cerebrally I feel a different way.
Okay.
Like I feel there's been a lot of changes in the sense that there are a lot more opportunities. People are much more interested in diversity casting. But what actually may happen might not be as great as I would like to see it in terms of the potential of the talent that's out there. I feel like there's been a lot of changes in the sense that I think there will always be stereotypes of different ethnicities, but I feel like people are a lot smarter and sharper as writers, and they are trying to write outside of that scope. I played a massage parlor girl, at the very early part of my career, which was a pretty stereotypical character. Now, those aren't the only roles you'll see. I mean, you may see those, but it's not limited to that. However, someone just showed me a New York Times article that basically showed all of the ethnic actors on all of the series that are coming out in the fall, and basically broke it down as everyone was supporting a Caucasian character. Everybody's kind of like, the infrastructure is small, supporting roles that are ethnic. And when you see something like that, you get a little depressed because then you think, has it changed when it comes down to numbers and statistics?
And do any of you want to?
Just to kind of bookend on what Michelle, I agree with everything she said. I think it also what comes into play is that I think we're in a place where I think we feel, for the most part, a little bit more comfortable speaking up about things. I think that there's a bit more of a community voice about the stuff that we're okay with. Look, there's certain things that are written that someone ends up doing, and that's fine, because I think it's a personal choice for everyone, and everyone has their own boundaries. But I remember when I first started, I had no community. I had no one to talk to. I had no one to kind of talk to about my stuff or what was going on and the stuff that things were being said to me. And so that's nice that I have a community. But I agree with what Michelle is saying, is that I still feel that there is such a long way to go in people feeling comfortable with having a lead in, let's say, a television show or even a movie that can potentially carry it, right? Because they're nervous, because they think that people aren't going to be interested in seeing someone of color possibly be the lead of something. I remember when I first started, and we would talk about things like this when it came to stereotypes. As an Indian American, we would always joke that if you're talking about the stereotypes of Indians, we're one of 3 doctors. There's 33% of the doctors. And when I was first starting out, there was not one Indian American doctor on any of the shows. And that is one of the most common procedurals that you would see on any television network. And we rallied, we made a big stink about it because we thought, at least give us that. And then ER finally brought on Parminder. So, and now but again, they're supporting characters. Would there be a lead? If you go into a hospital, you're probably going to see an Indian doctor there, and the statistics are 1 of 3 are Indian. So are we ever going to see that? It's never going to be exact, obviously, it's not how it works, but, in terms of the change, I think now they're trying to tick the boxes when you see the breakdowns of shows and what they're trying to cast. Well, we need Indian, we need this kind of stuff. But in terms of, I would love to get to a point where we're not having a conversation about it. I would love to just get to a point where who's the most interesting choice, regardless of color. And maybe that would be awesome,
Yeah. The Mindy Kaling show, is that sort of an indication that things might be changing, or?
Yeah, I think that's a really big. I think her story is interesting, right? Because she worked her way in through the system, right?
As a writer.
She was a writer. She wrote for herself, and then ended up, developing this relationship. She earned it. She's fantastic. She's smart. She certainly has deserved she's worked her ass off, but she did it a different way, which I think is great. At the end of the day, the writers and producers and directors do have that control. So if there was more of us in those positions, I think there'd be more people casting, parts in that way.
Lynn?
Well, I was going to say that I do think that, in the beginning of when I started, and I started like when I was 5 years old, my race was the reason I got in the door. And because they were always like, we need an Asian, there's 2. and so it was very easy for me growing up I hardly auditioned. But then, as I got older and I'm at the point where I am now, I don't know if it's my age or if it's the way it is. But for me personally, I found that my opportunities are not as plentiful as they used to be. And so in order to make things happen, I have to make them happen myself. And something that has definitely changed is we have this new generation of DIYers who are making things happen. And I'm really, okay, so this is something that just happened to me over the weekend that is kind of blowing my mind still a little bit. So on Friday, I had friends over. We watched an 80s movie starring Virginia Madsen called Electric Dreams, which is wonderful, and everyone should watch it. And I tweeted a picture of it. Now, that same evening, they introduced me to this Asian female rapper named Awkwafina, who I had never heard of, and I became obsessed and watched 4 Awkwafina videos in a row. And 2 days ago, what day is today? Monday? Today's Monday, okay.
Yes.
Yesterday, or the day before, what happened? Virginia Madsen starts following me on Instagram, and Awkwafina tweets me, "You're my favorite actress. Let's do a music video."
Nice.
So I was like, this would never happen. This would never have happened before. And this access, I think that when we first started, when I was 5 years old, there were roles that actors had to play. You could not be accessible. You could not do other things. And now the lines have been blurred a lot. And so, I honestly don't know. You always hear about women over the age of 30 who just the roles aren't there. And I don't know if that's necessarily a race thing in our case, or if it's an age thing, or if it's a woman thing. But I do know that things are changing. That's how things are changing, because I don't know whether or not I'm going to end up, doing a music video with Awkwafina, with Virginia Madsen in a cameo, walking through. But
Electric Dreams.
But these things are possible now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they were 10 years ago.